Hello everybody, my name is Ben Hawes, and today I'm going to be telling you about my coming out story. I remember as a kid in high school and even in college looking up these coming out story videos on YouTube, and I just found them to be so profound and helpful. And before I came out, I kind of knew that one day I would be making a video like this. So I think a lot of these coming out stories always begin with the question, when did you know? But I want to start with a little bit further back, and I want to talk about my first impressions of the word gay. So when I was really young, I always remember people making a lot of jokes about gay people and using gay as an insult and calling things gay, and just like this kind of notion that the word gay, there's humor to it and it's funny and it's bad. But I honestly didn't know what the actual meaning of the word gay was. So I actually remember there was this one time where I became aware of what the word gay meant, and it was this like huge epiphany situation for me. I was in 4th or 5th grade, and I was in a circle of kids, and I went to the elementary school that my mom taught at. My mom was friends with the principal of the school, who I now know was gay. I remember being in this circle of kids, and one of the kids called him gay. And I went on this whole thing about how, no, he's not, he's really cool, I've been to his house, my mom knows him, he's so cool, there's no way he could be gay. And so one of the kids was like, no, he's gay, like my mom met his boyfriend. And I was like, boyfriend? What are you talking about? Like I had no idea what that even, it just did not compute. Like a man having a boyfriend, and it was just this whole moment where I came home and I was just like, what the hell does being gay mean? And I actually remember that kind of being like a turning point for me in terms of like my awareness of identity and kind of my awareness of what I should be and what I shouldn't be. Elementary school for me was this kind of very happy time. I just remember not having as many worries as I did when I got into 6th grade. It starts to matter who you're friends with, it starts to matter what you look like, what kind of music you're into. And so 6th grade becomes this time where I'm just now very aware that I'm supposed to be certain things. My voice was still very high, like a little kid. I hadn't kind of gone through the whole voice change thing. I had a bowl cut that was very long and kind of frankly beautiful, and it had highlights in it because I just wanted it. And at the time I had no worries about it. I didn't think someone's gonna make fun of me for it or anything like that. I don't know, I guess I looked like a girl a little bit, or I just looked kind of feminine or whatever. My voice wasn't dropped or whatever. So I was just kind of this kid who people thought was gay. And people would ask me if I was gay kind of innocently, and not even necessarily like they were bullying me, but like they just would ask me if I was gay, and I would say no because I didn't think I was gay. So 6th grade, they're teaching you about puberty and all of these things are gonna happen. Basically this lesson where you're going to get hair these different places, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get that, and that I'm going to be experiencing all these different things that I'm gonna find are weird, but I'm gonna come out of it normal and I'm gonna be fine. For me, I took that very literally. I was like, okay, cool, so anything that happens to me for the next 3 years, it's all weird, but it's fine, and I'm gonna come out of it normal. So I kind of lumped all of the feelings that I had for boys into that, because they kind of don't teach you that being gay is a possibility in school. So between like 7th and 8th and like my freshman year of high school, it was all just very like, I just forgave myself a lot. I just kind of like didn't put any power on the fact that I was having these feelings for boys. And so yeah, like in my kind of formative teenage years, I just always assumed, okay, weird things are happening, and I was gonna turn out normal. And by normal, I mean straight. And I wasn't hiding who I was just kind of not addressing the fact that I liked boys. So in high school, I was this guy, I was very loud, I was very me, I was very excited about everything, I was running for class presidents, I had a lot of friends, and I think everybody pretty much just kind of took me for who I was, and they just kind of put me in my own categories. So by the time I got to the end of high school, by like my senior year, I started to kind of put 2 and 2 together. It started to get to a point where the other boys were like, we were 17, some of them were 18 now, and they became a little bit more aware of what being gay meant and making little comments here and there. There was this kid that I just hated so much, and he was in my English class, and my class had a potluck, and my best friend Nicole was in that class with me. So we partnered up and we wanted to make like a 3-layer cake. We made the cake. It was kind of 3 layers. It didn't turn out as well as we thought it would, but my best friend, her favorite color is pink. So we decorated the cake pink, and this kid goes, "That's the gayest cake I've ever seen." And I remember I looked back at him and at the cake, but I was like, I remember I had this thought that I was like, that is a pretty gay cake. Maybe I'm gay. And so I think that that's the first time that I ever started to connect the dots. And so after that, I think I started to get a little bit more protective, a little bit more defensive of when people would call me gay. There were just situations where my friends would mention something about me being with guys or something, and I would get very defensive of it, and it would hurt my feelings, and I was not excited about it. So when I was applying for colleges, I basically remember having this subconscious thought that if I go to college in San Francisco, it would be an easy place to come out. And when I went to school, it actually was very hard for me because I had not fully come to terms with the fact that I was gay. I was pretty much just still in denial. People were just extremely accepting. So nobody bullied me, but it felt like they were being rude to me, and it felt like I was being bullied because I was not out of the closet, but they were treating me like I was gay. So I would go to a new class and someone would be like, "Oh, you're gay, right?" And I would say, "Oh my God, no, I'm not. I can't believe you think that." And I remember there was this one time where that happened and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm usually never wrong. I'm so sorry." And I did not like that. It did not feel good for people to call me gay when I didn't call myself gay. And so I had this friend, one of my friends from college, the first friend that I met. He was gay. He was a cool person for me to know because he seemed so comfortable. But the thing that bothered me about him is that when I told my mom about him, I said, "I have this new friend, he's gay." And it bothered me because that's how I described my friend to my mom. So I thought that if I were ever to come out and be gay, that's how other people would describe me to their family. So I had this huge fear that if I were to come out, then everybody would minimize me to just being gay, and that's how they would describe me. That would be the value they see in me. And I've always considered myself to be a very creative and exciting person, and I just didn't want to be boxed in. And so I actually even thought about transferring schools because I just felt like I just needed to get out of there where everybody obviously knew that I was gay. I needed to go somewhere where I could fit in a little bit better. So I moved back home with my parents for the summer, as a lot of college kids do, and I basically had this very, very masculine summer. Looking back, absolutely overcompensating for the fact that I was gay. And so I got this job that my brother had at the sanitary district, which is the sewer. So basically all of the sewage goes to this station, and I worked at the station. It was manual labor. I drove around in this huge truck. I was listening to a lot of just hard country music and just really trying to become this man. I just feel I remember it so vividly, just working with all the tools and feeling this is, if anything's gonna fix me, it's gonna be this. And my family every summer goes to this lake in Washington where my uncle has some property, and it's just kind of a camping trip that we do every summer. And there was one night, I think it was 2 nights before we went back home, I had this dream that was the most vivid dream I've ever had, probably ever. And so basically the dream was that these 2 guys that I knew from really random places in my life came to me while I was sleeping, got me up, and started taking me on this trail of people that I knew in my life. So they would take me to my best friend, and the best friend would say, "We know and we love you." And then the 2 guys would take me to the next person, and that person would say, "We know and we love you." And so it would continue on, and basically this dream, I was going on this trail, and everybody that I knew and loved was saying, "We know that you're gay, and we love you, and we accept it, and it's fine." The last person that they took me to on this kind of trail was my mom. And my mom has always been one of the most important people to me. So I got to my mom in this dream, and she said, "I know and I love you." And we hugged in the dream, and it was just so beautiful. I just remember this dream just being so profound and vivid that I woke up just with this newfound understanding that I am a gay man and that I am gonna come out as soon as possible. So this is where it gets more emotional, because coming out is always so emotional. It's always so difficult for people, and for me, it was no exception. I knew that by the time I got back to college for my sophomore year, I had applied to become an RA, and I got the job, and so I knew that I was gonna have all these new friends, and it was really important to me that these new friends that I was gonna have, I wanted to start out the gate with them as gay. I went to school, I moved in, I started meeting people, and a lot of the other guys there were gay. And one night we all went to dinner, and I said something very disappointing. It was something about like, I wouldn't marry a woman unless she was like something. And I remember I could see in the mirror that this guy kind of looked at me, this gay guy kind of looked at me, was like, I don't know. So now I feel like I'm in this place where I'm gonna have to tell them that like, whatever I just said was not real and that I am gay. And so that night we went to this guy's dorm room, and there were a few of us kind of sitting around talking about our lives and getting to know each other. So this was this guy from college and my friend from college, Andy, and me. And my friend Andy had a lot of gay friends, and this guy was gay. And so it felt like kind of the right place to tell people, but I was just not able to say it. The word gay had such power in my mind that it just was so difficult to say that word. So they basically talked me through for like an hour and a half different stories of other people who have come out, and this guy was kind of telling me about how he used to say some of the same things that I used to say, about how I have high standards and how, you know, I only want to date celebrities and all these different things. This is the first time that I was in a closed room with people who I absolutely knew for certain that they know that I'm gay and that they're okay with it, and it's just up to me to say it. So I just freaked out. I left the room, I said I have to use the bathroom, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, okay, this is the moment. You're gonna tell somebody that you're gay, and you just have to do it. So I walked back into the room, I sat down, and my face was like pale white, like they could tell something was wrong. They said, are you okay? And I said, I have to say something. And I said, I couldn't say the word gay, so I said, I am. And they said, you are what? And I said, I just am. And they said, gay? And I said, yes. And they said, do you think there's any potential that you are bi? And I said, and that kind of like was funny to me because I was like, no, there's no chance. Like, I really don't like girls at all. But that was crazy for me because I literally never told anybody. And I was so afraid of the fact that now a lot of the power that I had was in the hands of these two people. These two people were very supportive. They helped me kind of through it. They didn't leave right away, but then there was kind of this moment where it got really late and we all had to go back to our rooms and go to bed. I just laid awake thinking, I cannot believe I did that, because I was so scared of the fact that my power was not mine anymore and that other people would know they could do whatever they want with that secret of mine. And so I kind of decided that now that I've told two people, I'm just gonna tell everybody. So now it gets to like my mass coming out story. And so I started telling more and more people, just telling everybody, and it started to spread around my school. And I think within like 48 hours, I was out at school. And the other thing is like, it kind of felt unfinished because I hadn't told my family and I hadn't told my high school friends. So those were two of my kind of groups that I knew that I needed to tell. I had two friends from high school that I really wanted to tell. And so I texted them because I'm not gonna call them. I'm not really a phone call person. And I wanted them to know right away. And I also wanted to control how I said it. So I texted them and I said, hey, I wanted to let you know I'm gay, and I'm not telling anybody yet, so don't tell anybody from home. It's still a secret, but I wanted you to be the first to know I'm gay. And they both replied. They were both very great about it. My friend Victoria was amazing, and she helped me craft the way that I was going to tell my parents. And the thing about telling my parents was that I was actually pretty sure that they were gonna be totally fine with it, and that maybe they even already know. And so I decided that I really wanted to send them an email and just tell them, hey, I'm gay, that's it, bye. But my friend Victoria urged me and encouraged me to write them a letter and send it in the real mail. So I crafted this letter. I basically said, I have news, I am gay. I basically said, like, it doesn't mean anything really, it's just who I am. It is important, but I don't want you to think anything of it, kind of thing. And then I told them, I don't want you to call me with your first reaction. I want you to text me what you think about this. And then I will call you and we can talk about it. There was something about the initial reaction that I wanted to avoid. I didn't want I didn't want to be in a room with them to talk about it, and I didn't want to be on a phone call to hear their initial reaction. And so a couple days later, it got to be maybe 5 or 6 p.m. and my mom texts me, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was just kind of like very matter of fact and it was supportive, and it said, "We got your letter, I don't know if it said this is totally fine or we're proud of you or something like that, but it was very much like this text that was like, we are good. And it was cool because she texted me, she was fully supportive. I knew that we were good, that we were on good terms, that nothing was gonna change, all of that stuff. But I just didn't have that conversation with her where it was a little bit deeper until a couple days later, which was fine because I did not want to have that conversation right away. This is all happening very fast. And so the really cool thing that happened that I really didn't expect was that I got a really nice email from my dad. And my dad, I always figured, would just be like pretty neutral about it. And it basically just said that all we want for our kids is for them to be happy. And that they could tell that I was happy and that that's all that mattered. My dad and I were always close, but it was really crazy because when he sent me that letter, I just was so happy because his approval and his support actually ended up meaning so much to me because I just didn't expect it. And then I think the next day or the day after, my mom called me and we had a discussion about it, and she was very supportive, as I had expected her to be. And one of the things that my mom did, which I could never thank her enough for, was she helped me tell the rest of the family. And I told her that there were a couple of people who I was specifically nervous to tell. But I think for the sake of this story, I'd really rather focus on the people who were more supportive and the people who pushed me forward and helped me out a little bit more. Because the people who were hard to tell and the people who had worse reactions, I kind of think they've come around a little bit more. So once my mom had helped me come out to the rest of the family, now I knew it was time to tell my friends from high school. I knew they would all be supportive, and so I kind of just like selected, I think it was 17 of my friends from high school. I put them in a group message. Basically I said, "Hello everybody, I have news. Again, I'm gay, but I just wanted to put you in this group and tell you that I'm gay." And then I said, "This is not a secret, so start spreading the news." I didn't want it to be a secret anymore. I didn't care if anybody who didn't like me in high school knew. I didn't care. I just felt like I wanted every single person to know now. I actually feel like it was crazy because it was like the best day I had ever experienced. I was in such a good mood because people were just texting me like, "Congratulations." It was like I had done a huge accomplishment, and I was just having such a good time, and I was just kind of dancing around my world, just kind of being so excited that I was out of the closet. It was such, they always say it's like a weight lifted off of you. It just felt like that. Like it physically felt different to be out of the closet. I stopped being so worried about the way that I was coming off and started to just be myself, and I just became so comfortable with who I was, and it was just the best thing ever. The vast majority of the people in my life were very supportive and very helpful, and they celebrated me and they were excited for me, and I was able as a result to become closer and closer to these people in my life. So that gets me to the point where I had come out of the closet. With this whole story and with this whole experience, I feel like I've learned like a lot. So the first thing that I've learned from this is that the world will only ever reward you and celebrate you and congratulate you when you are your most authentic self. And I think sometimes the word authentic is a little bit overused. But what I mean by authentic is just that the closer you get to the core of who you are and the better you live that way, the more happy you'll be. The other thing that I want to share is that as you grow up and you're learning about gay culture, don't try to fit into something that doesn't feel right for you. You don't have to fit in with what you think a stereotype of a gay person is. Sometimes being gay just means that you like the same sex. That's all it really means. So of course there's a community around it, of course there's media around it, and as I've grown up I realized that really there's so many different types of LGBTQ people. It's so diverse. There's really not one cookie cutter type of gay person. And so to close out this video, I just want to thank everybody who has been there for me since I came out, people who knew me before I came out, people who knew me after I came out, and I can't tell you how much your support has meant to me over the years. So without further ado, I'm going to close out the video. I hope this was helpful for somebody, and I hope you have a great day.